Every time you look at your pay stub, there is a specific, sinking feeling. You see the gross amount, the number representing your actual value to the market, the hours of your life you traded away. And then, right next to it, you see the net amount, the number you actually get to keep. It feels like a punch in the gut. It feels like a glitch in the matrix. Most of us are raised on a very specific, comforting story to explain this gap. We are taught that taxes are simply the price we pay for civilization, a collective subscription fee where everyone throws their fair share into the pot to build roads, fund schools, and keep the lights on. It's a noble idea. It makes you feel like a responsible citizen. But have you ever stopped to ask yourself a dangerous question? If the tax system is just about collecting a fair share to pay the bills, why is the tax code so complex that even the IRS admits they cannot fully understand it? It creates a labyrinth of over 4 million words of law and regulation. If it were about revenue, it would be a single page. Make this much, pay this much. Done. The complexity isn't an accident. It isn't bureaucratic incompetence. It is a feature, not a bug. The truth, the one that feels uncomfortable to admit, is that the tax system wasn't designed to be fair, and it certainly wasn't designed to be easy. It was designed to control you. It is not a bill, it is an algorithm. And right now, you are running the wrong software. To understand why you feel like you're losing, you have to stop thinking like a citizen and start thinking like a developer looking at source code. The economic operating system we live in has two distinct user modes. Most people spend their entire lives in the first mode. Default user. This is the employee. In this mode, the system has hard-coded restrictions that make wealth accumulation mathematically improbable. You earn money. The system extracts its cut immediately at the source, before you even touch it, and you are left to survive on the remainder. You have zero administrative privileges. You are a source of revenue, a battery powering the machine. But there is a second mode, a hidden tier of access. Admin mode. This is the investor, the business owner, the creator. In this mode, the flow of logic reverses. You earn money, you spend everything you need to upgrade your own infrastructure and lifestyle, and then, and only then, do you pay taxes on what is left. The default user pays to exist. The admin gets paid to build. This fundamental asymmetry is the root of that sinking feeling you get when you see your paycheck. You are playing a game where the rules are different depending on which character class you choose. This isn't a conspiracy theory. It is simply incentive design. You have to understand that the government doesn't actually want your money. If they really needed your specific dollars to fund the budget, they wouldn't run trillion-dollar deficits every single year. They have the power to print liquidity at the push of a button. So why tax you? They tax you to engineer your behavior. The tax code is essentially a massive list of incentives and penalties. It's a way for the government to outsource the heavy lifting of society. They want more affordable housing? They can't build it efficiently, so they write a line of code that says, if you build housing, you don't pay tax. They want domestic energy independence? If you drill for oil, you get a tax break. They want jobs? If you start a business and hire people, you get a deduction. When you see a billionaire paying zero in income tax, your instinct is to be angry. You think they found a loophole. You think they are cheating. But in reality, they are just following the instructions. They are executing the code exactly as written. They are trading their behavior, building, investing, hiring, for a tax exemption. You, on the other hand, are paying a fine. Income tax is the penalty you pay for not participating in the government's economic goals. It sounds cynical, but the system punishes employees because, from a macroeconomic perspective, an employee is a dead end for capital velocity. You earn, you consume, you stop. The system rewards velocity. To see this in high definition, let's modernize the example. Forget the dusty cliches about real estate tycoons in suits. Let's look at two people in the modern economy, Chris and Taylor. They both make $100,000 a year. Chris is a senior designer at a tech firm. He is a default user. He wants to upgrade his life. He buys a high-end camera for $3,000 because he loves photography. He buys a new laptop. He pays for his internet. To the tax code, all of these are personal choices. Chris pays for them with post-tax dollars. To buy that $3,000 camera, Chris actually had to earn nearly $4,500 because the government took its cut first. He is swimming upstream. Now look at Taylor. Taylor makes the same amount, but she is a freelance content creator. She operates in admin mode. She buys the exact same $3,000 camera, but because she is a business entity, that camera is a tool. It is an expense. She writes it off. She buys the laptop, write off. Her internet bill, write off. A portion of her apartment rent for her home office, write off. Even her travel, if she films content, becomes a deduction. Taylor is buying her lifestyle with pre-tax dollars. The government is effectively subsidizing her life because she has framed her existence as a business. Chris is playing the game on hard mode, paying full retail price for his life. Taylor has unlocked the developer console. Same income, completely different outcome. But the code has a hidden function that is even more aggressive than income tax. And this is the part that usually goes unmentioned because it's not on your pay stub. It is the patch update that runs silently in the background. Inflation. This is where the fairness argument completely collapses. We are told inflation is just prices going up, like a force of nature. That is a lie. Inflation is not prices going up. It is the value of your money melting. Think of it like this. The government spends more than it collects in taxes. To fill the gap, the central bank prints new money. But here is the secret. The Cantillon Effect. The new money doesn't get distributed to everyone equally. It goes to the top first, to the government, to big banks, to large corporations. They get to spend this new money at its full value before prices rise. By the time that money trickles down to your wages, the prices of housing, groceries, and gas have already skyrocketed to adjust for the new supply. You are the last to touch the money, which means you are the one paying the price. Imagine your savings are an ice cube sitting on the kitchen counter. You worked hard for that ice. You froze your time and energy into it. But the government has the thermostat, and they keep turning up the heat to service their own massive debts. Your ice cube melts into a puddle. You didn't spend it. You didn't lose it. It just evaporated. This is a hidden tax on liquidity. The wealthy know this. This is why the rich almost never have large amounts of cash sitting in a bank account. They know cash is a melting asset. They hold the freezer. They hold assets, equities, real estate, gold, intellectual property, crypto. When the government turns up the heat, the price of the freezer just goes up. Inflation acts as a massive wealth transfer mechanism from the savers to the debtors. And since the government is the biggest debtor in the world, they have a vested interest in letting your ice melt. So this leads to the ultimate question. If they can just print money to pay their bills, why force us to pay taxes at all? Why the elaborate theater of the IRS? The answer is about control. Taxes create an artificial demand for the currency. You must pay your tax liability in US dollars. You cannot pay in Bitcoin. You cannot pay in gold. You cannot pay in exposure. This requirement forces you to work for dollars, to sell your goods for dollars, and to hold dollars. It locks you into their ecosystem. It effectively mandates that you participate in their economy. Without taxes, There would be no guaranteed demand for the currency, and the ability to print money would collapse. Taxes are the anchor that keeps the ship from drifting away, and you are the one rowing the boat. This realization, that the system is rigged against the employee, shouldn't make you depressed. It shouldn't make you go out and protest in the street. Anger is inefficient. The system is too big to fight with signs. Instead, this realization should make you cold. It should make you strategic. It's like realizing you've been playing a video game with a broken controller. You don't scream at the TV, you plug in a new controller. The barrier to entry for admin access has never been lower in human history. You don't need to be a Rockefeller or a Carnegie. You don't need to build a steel mill. In 2024, the tools of production are digital. You don't need to quit your job today. You just need to file the paperwork. Turn your weekend photography into a sole proprietorship. Turn your car lease into a logistics expense. You need an LLC and a shift in logic. You need to stop viewing your expenses as consumption and start viewing them as R&D. Every time you open your wallet, you need to ask, is this a personal expense or is this a business deduction? You need to stop saving your energy in melting ice cubes and start building a freezer. This means moving your focus from earning a paycheck to acquiring assets. An asset is anything that puts money in your pocket or holds its value against the heat of inflation. A liability is anything that takes money out of your pocket. The tax code is designed to destroy the wealth of those who only have liabilities and multiply the wealth of those who hold assets. The world is full of people complaining that the game is unfair, that the rich need to pay their fair share. They are waiting for a politician to come save them, to rewrite the code in their favor. That is never going to happen. The code was written by the owners, for the owners. But the irony is, the door to the owner's box is unlocked. They left the instructions right there in the open, buried in 10 million words of boring legal text. You can keep playing as an NPC, paying the fines, suffering the inflation, and complaining about the difficulty setting. Or you can pick up the controller, learn the cheat codes, and finally start playing the game the way it was meant to be played. The choice is yours.